everybody, this is Daniel and welcome to my channel. I want to talk a little bit today and do a continuation of talking about the E7th tuning. That little intro there you just heard, that was in E7th tuning, and we talked a little bit in my last video about how E7th can be very similar to the E9th pedal steel tuning. So I want to showcase, for those of you that have asked, this is the strings that I'm using. This is the Scotty's E7th lap steel strings, very affordable. Scotty's products are always top tier in my opinion. This pack is unique to this tuning because it does have some thicker gauges. Now, mind you, as I mentioned in the last tuning, you can use a regular C6 pack, so don't be afraid to do that. Cool thing about using a C6 pack is you can actually retune to C6. On this pack, I have a 38 gauge for the very bottom. I could probably tune that up to C and it'd be okay. My guitar's a little bit longer scale, so I don't know if it would quite hold out for me, but for you it might if you have a shorter scale guitar. What I want to talk about today, though, is continuation, jumping right into the E7th. So the last video we talked about the core of E7th, what it is. So it's B, D, E, G sharp, B, E. So we talked about how we have our major chords, but most importantly, we have our 7th chord. So take most songs, especially country songs. If you're like me, you play a lot of country songs. You have the major concepts there to play what you need to play. You have your major chords and your 7th chord. So let's take a song like Wildwood Flower. We had everything we needed there to play the basic melody of that. We had our major chords and we had our 7th chords. Now, we talked a little bit in the last video about what do you do if you need a minor chord. So lap steel tunings, as you all know, sometimes they don't have everything, and sometimes you have to make do with what you've got. One of the reasons so many steel guitar players used to have multiple necks was for that very reason. Can it be limiting? Yes. But if you spend enough time with a lap steel and with lap steel tunes, you'll find it's actually a very unique experience to work with all those tunings. So I want to delve into that a little bit. Now, in the last video, we talked about kind of faking some minor chords. Kind of like pressing that A pedal on a pedal steel. And of course, right here we have the C sharp minor. In our open position there on the 2nd fret. But if you need more than that, or if you need more flavor than that, you might have to alter the tuning a little bit. Now, before I get into that, I want to share this with you. So before I ever tuned my lap steel to E7th for the first time, I ordered this book. This is Mel Bay's Steel Guitar Method. A lot of you are familiar with this book. You've probably seen it for sale. It's an older book. I'm not sure what year this one was published, but I believe Mel Bay put it out in around 1968, and I believe some of the material in it's actually older than that. Now, have I really dove into this book yet? Yes and no. I have started it, but I have not. I've not completed the method. Do I like this book? Yes. If you want to delve into E7th, actually, if you want to delve into lap steel in general, it's not a bad book. I do better with hard copies of things. So this book has a lot of interesting charts. I will tell you ahead of time, it's not big on tablature. A lot of us steel guitar players like tablature. This is more on musical notation. But in the beginning of the book, it tells you how to read musical notations. There's a lot to take out of this book. So if you can find it, and it's available several places. I believe the Steel Guitar Forum store has it, and I believe that you can get it on Amazon. I bought it from a used bookstore online, paid about $16 total for it. So got a good copy, so I was happy with it, and I'm going to give it some more attention. But we'll save more talk on that for later. So let's talk about those minor chords. Now, I've got my handy dandy tuner here, and we're going to drop this 5th string. We're going to drop it from a D just slightly down to a C sharp. And you hear we now have a minor chord. Now, we're not still in E7th tuning. We've now entered E6th tuning. And if you're familiar with E6, you may be familiar with it so because of Don Helms. Now, this is not exactly the same variant Don Helms did. He had a high G sharp. So the high string we have is an E. Same high E as you would have on C6, or your 4th string in an E9 tuning. That's the E that we have. But check this out. We now have minor chords. So hear that 6th sound. So now we're getting that. So it's kind of a trade-off. You change one string, now we have minor chords, but we no longer have the 7th chords, right? Well, kind of. I actually like this variant of the tuning more because I can still get a 7th chord. If I take my top 3 strings and I bend my bar backwards, I can still get 7th chords. So I have to work a little bit for them, but that's not a terribly hard bend to do. It can be if you're playing very fast, but for most songs, it's not too bad. So I do tend to stick with the E6th variant. I like it. I'm able to get some really nice sounds out of that. Would I really recommend one over the other? Not really. I think it depends on more of the type of music you're playing. It's an easy alternation to make, to go from E6 to 7th or vice versa. So it's not really something that you couldn't do between songs. I don't really think I'd want to try it during a song, but you could certainly do it between songs if you had a song where you needed some minor chords versus, or maybe you just want a different flavor. You know, maybe you're playing a full set and you just need a little bit different flavor. So it's a fun experiment. I encourage you, if you have a lap still laying around that you've been wanting to try another tuning, check out E7th and E6th. Now, I'm not going to delve any deeper today. This is part 2 of my video series. So now we've delved from taking it from E7th to really E6th and why we would do that to get those minor chords. But there's more that we're going to build on this tuning. There's even more to go, and we're going to talk about getting some major 7th chords. But the next thing we're going to do after that is we're actually going to show how we can go from E7th to another tuning and kind of some of the concepts back and forth there and how you can move this around and do some neat things. And that's with this pack of strings. So that's with this pack of strings. I'm going to show you what this is capable of doing. So I encourage you to try it. if you have any questions, let me know. I love to discuss this stuff. So let me know what you got, and we'll have some further discussion. If you like this content, please like and subscribe and leave a comment if you want to know more, if you want to see more. But thanks for watching. This is Mississippi Steeler signing off.